Okay, so at this point, you've seen the teaser trailer and you're thinking to yourself, okay, sounds pretty good, but what are we going to be learning specifically, and why do I need to learn it? Well, let's see if I can provide you with some answers. A course like Introduction to Communication has some really important outcomes that we're trying to accomplish. First of all, as I'm sure you're aware, this is a basic introductory survey. It's a gateway to the rest of the communication major. So a big part of what it needs to do is to give you the lay of the land, as it were, to give you a sense of this is what communication is about, these are the various areas of study that are involved, and here are some basic principles that are going to help you navigate this terrain so that when you get into subsequent communication classes, you've got a bit of a foundation. So that's something that we need to accomplish. Another key thing that we need to accomplish that I'm sure many of you may be aware of is that, well, I'm a communication major, maybe not entirely, but in large part at least, because I'm interested in some sort of career after graduation that's going to involve something involving communication. So a big part of what this class has been redesigned to do is to give you some opportunity to specifically think about what the kinds of career paths are that are available from a communication major standpoint. And so there's going to be specific things that we do in the course that are going to speak to that. And there's a final outcome that's really important to this class, although it might not necessarily be as intuitive for you to figure out. And that is, we want you to succeed, not just as communication majors, but as students at Mizzou. And so while some of you have been around here for a while, many of you are relatively early in your Mizzou career. Some of you are Mizzou students for the very first time this semester. So one of the things that this class is designed specifically to do is to give you an opportunity to develop some skills and strategies and personal dispositions with regard to academic success. What are the kinds of habits of mind and habits of practice that you're going to need in order to be the most successful student you can be? So when we take these three kinds of outcomes together, what I was able to come up with were 5 specific learning objectives that this class is going to be about. By the time we get to the end of the semester, you're going to be able to, first of all, be able to define communication. What is it? How do we understand it? Why is it important? And to be able to use some simple but powerful theoretical models to be able to explain it, how it works in different kinds of situations. Related to that, the second key objective is that by the time we're finished with this semester, you're going to be able to explain certain core concepts that are fundamental to understanding any type of communication, and to be able to explain the significance of these. So when we're talking about such fundamental concepts as signs and symbols, audience, context, identity, and culture, you need to know what these things are, and you need to know why they're important in everything from an interpersonal conversation to the structuring of a public relations campaign to putting together an entire media empire that defines the way we understand our popular culture. These core concepts apply to pretty much everything you're going to study as a communication major, so you want to have a pretty good sense of those. The third key learning objective is that by the time we get to the end of the semester, you're going to be able to compare and contrast 4 focus areas in the discipline of communication. By the time you complete your communication degree, you're actually going to have to declare one of these focus areas as a concentration for your major. So this class is designed to give you the Cook's tour, if you will, of interpersonal and relational communication, organizational communication, political and public communication, and mediated communication. How is it that they're all studying and practicing similar things that are at the core of the communication discipline, but at the same time have very different areas of emphasis, different priorities, different ways of thinking and theorizing about how communication takes place? These are going to be important to know as you continue to progress throughout your communication major career. The fourth key objective is that by the end of the semester, you're going to be able to apply communication theories to analyze and evaluate specific situations. The neat thing about teaching a class like this is that I can absolutely say without fear of contradiction that no matter what specific job you're thinking about getting after graduation, no matter what particular path your personal life takes you, no matter what kinds of involvement you want to have as a public person in the civic realm, no matter what you do, communication is going to be an integral part of that. And so one of the key values added by a communication major is being able to take what you've learned and to be able to apply it analytically and critically to the communication that's around you. So in our class discussions, we're going to have opportunities to take a look at some long-form mediated case studies, if you will, of different communication situations through film and television readings. And the discussions are designed to give you an opportunity to take the concepts that we're learning in each module and really dig into these films to get a sense of how the communication dynamics are going on, why they're playing out the way that they are, to evaluate what's going on critically, and perhaps in some cases even to make recommendations of how the communication might be more effective. These are the kinds of transferable skills that are going to apply to every other communication course you ever take, as well as any career path you choose and all of that life stuff, really. And finally, the fifth learning objective that's going to be really important is to be able to research and report on career opportunities in different communication fields. We have a specific term project that I'll tell you a little bit later on in this module about, that is not just something that you need to do because this is a class and you're going to have a class project, but I'm presuming that most of you want to be employed after graduation, right? And you want to have a meaningful career, a productive career that does something with the major that you're working hard to achieve. Now, one aspect of employment that sadly isn't taken into account nearly as much as it should be is that for the most productive and successful job search that you're going to have when you're moving closer to graduation, or indeed even prior to that, if you're thinking about investigating various internship possibilities to try out a career and to see if that's the kind of thing that you want to pursue, it's not something that you can just fall into. The most productive career searchers are going to be those that can do a little basic research to try to figure out, what is this job like? What are the duties and responsibilities of somebody who works in this career? What kinds of knowledge sets and skills and dispositions do you need to have in order to get that entry-level job? What do you need to have and have to be able to do in order to succeed in that job long term? And what kinds of things can you do as a Mizzou student between now and the time you graduate to get you ready for a career like that? The term project that we're going to have in this course is designed specifically to put your foot in the door of doing that kind of research and analysis, because this is the kind of career research that you need to do not just for a COMM class, but for any kind of serious professional career job search. All right, so in a nutshell, those are the 5 key learning objectives that we're going to have for this course. So how are we going to achieve these objectives? Well, that's going to get us into the kinds of major assessments, the kinds of things that you're going to be graded and evaluated on during the course of this course. And that's the subject for another video.